Good morning, everybody. How are you? So, welcome to our unofficial session called Stump the Shah, and that would be me. So, today is going to start a series of interactive conversations where, really our goal is to make sure that any dialogue that people are actually asking you out in the field, that you have great answers and confidence in sharing with other people. What I found is as COVID and this pandemic has hit, I've coined this a communication economy, where I truly believe the people that can clearly and concisely convey their value proposition will win. The difference between getting a sale and not getting a sale, for most of the time, is the way we communicate with others. So before we start talking about our scenario, always ask yourself, when you're communicating something with another party, is it clear what you're communicating? Is it concise? And the best part is, does the person actually understand the value that you're getting? Do they really understand? Right? Because a lot of times the way that we communicate, it is this like almost floodgate of information all at once, which can be overwhelming to somebody, can be hard for them to process. They might not fully understand it. So, with that being said, who is up first that has an objection that they would like to role play?
I'll do it.
You're like my new best friend. Okay, so what is your objection that you're getting?
Oh, maybe I'm not your new best friend. Let somebody else do this one.
All right, Josh Muncie, I'm going to call on you. Josh? I see Julie O'Malley sitting there quietly hoping I don't call on her, so I'm going to call on you. And Renee, you're next.
Oh
So
boy.
what is something that you're hearing out in the field right now that could be potentially challenging to you, and effectively the way that you answer, the way you communicate, or a common objection you get that can be challenging to you as well?
Well, this is an objection I've gotten in the past is why should I hire you when I can go with the agent that has 50 listings in the area?
Now, I want to ask you, when you're doing this, you're still on the appointment. Like, you actually got an appointment with this person?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's role play this. So go ahead
Okay.
and do this.
Hey, Chirag, thank you for coming over.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Do you have any questions about the materials that I presented this evening?
No, I don't, but I've also been interviewing other agents, and in particular this one agent, and she's been in the business in the area for 25 years, and she has about 25 listings, and I know you're newer to the business, and we're really thinking about going with her because we just feel like she's more experienced and she can get the job done.
Great, Julie. So what I hear you saying is, number one, that you want to have confidence in who you hire. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And number two, you have spoken to this agent. You seem happy with the stuff that they had presented to you. And I know your time is very valuable. What specifically made you invite me over this evening for me to share with you what I and Compass could offer?
Well, we have a mutual friend, and she referred me to you to me, and says that you're newer to the business, but you helped her purchase a house, and she really had a great experience working with you.
Great. And in doing this and just kind of drilling down, and just preface by saying this, obviously we want you to choose what's best for you and your family, and we support you in that. What are your expectations of an agent you partner with?
Well, I want you to have my best interests at heart. I like there to be regular communication, but obviously this is our biggest asset, and we want to make sure we get the best price that we can.
Got it. So what I hear is most important is a couple things, right? Is a written communication plan so that we're in alignment and that you can be a partner in the process, as well as understanding the exact marketing plan that I would use to get you the best price and what that would actually look like.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I'm still a little leery of using somebody who's not as experienced and doesn't have as many listings in the market that this other agent has.
Got it. And what about another person having listings makes you feel that they have your best interest at heart, or makes you feel confident?
Well, they've obviously, there's other sellers are choosing them to represent them, and I just feel like that, they know what they're doing, and I get postcards from them once a month, and just I see their name all around town.
Got it, Julie. And look, as today's about you and not other sellers and mail or anything, is it fair to say, if I could share with you specifically the marketing that we would do, step by step in a calendar where you knew the date, the exact communication, and what that would look like working together, and I could outline those steps for you that you could keep an open mind in that, and if it did make you feel comfortable and confident, we could potentially discuss next steps.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to hear what your marketing plan is.
And would you agree, ultimately, regardless if it's myself, another agent, it's the marketing plan, the way the story of your home is told, the positioning of the house, the communication plan, the experience that you're going to have, all those things factor into you getting the best price and the best experience.
Absolutely. Definitely.
So I think we can agree going forward, let's objectively just look at the plan that's going to represent your home and the details and the experience you have, and let's see if it's something that will suit your needs.
Sounds great.
Is that helpful?
It was helpful. Yeah.
Do you see? All right. So I want to just kind of, do you have any questions?
No. One thing you could say is, I'm not telling you what to do, but a lot of these larger agents have assistants that often meet with the clients, and for me, I offer personalized service, and when you hire me, you get me, not an assistant.
So ready? That is a very good fact, but how many of us most of us, I feel, were here when we did the Matrix jump video, right? Like, remember when Morpheus jumped the building? He thought that was possible and it was doable, so he jumped. Neo, when he tried to jump, in his current belief system, that wasn't possible, so he fell flat on his face. So if someone is telling you that I feel that this is the best, I completely understand that. I could see why you're saying that. And if in the end goes, yeah, but you get their assistant, and with this you get me, it feels there's a time and a place for that, right? So say in this scenario, we would go through the whole entire process, and at the end of it, I would ask them this question. In a perfect world, would you prefer having all the communications through the agent you hired, or some of them through the agent and some of them through an assistant? And they're going to say, no, I prefer that. And you're going to say, look, I know you're interviewing other agents, and since that is your preference, just make sure that every person you hire works in that capacity that you want. And some of the questions you want to ask them are, what updates do you get? What updates do the assistant gets? When are you part of the transaction? When are you not part of the transaction? Because see, now, like, if you had an assistant, I could flip this the other way to make it seem beneficial. But if you give them all these questions, if they start asking someone all these questions, odds are they're going to get a little defensive about it, right? And as soon as the person gets defensive, they've lost. See, I'll never suggest like disagreeing with somebody. Great, if you think your house is worth that much money, sure, let me take my notepad out and let's walk around and share what specifically makes your home worth $200,000 more than the other homes that have updated kitchens and baths and new stuff. I wouldn't say that, but you have to go along with what they want to get them to a place where you can get what you want. Sound good?
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. So look, guys, a lot of this stuff is just practice, right? You have to practice this. So you think you don't need to practice it anymore, and then you still need to do it more. Grace, you're up next. Where is Grace? Great.
It's probably Marlena.
Oh, Marlena. That is very true. Okay, we'll keep going. Renee, my dear old friend, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So what objection do you have?
Um, a a, a buyer actually, a Zillow lead who
Oh, okay.
sort of has that
Marlena, we'll come back to you next.
have that mindset
Okay.
of not working with a buyer's agent is more preferable because they would get a better discount on the price.
Okay, got it. So look, first rule in this scenario is your job is not to sell the unsellables, right? There's two sets of logic. There's the logic generally of an agent that's based on data and facts. And there's the logic of a client that's based on dreams and emotion, right? So when they say that they want to show you a property, a lot of times it's like going on a Tinder date, we'll say, right? Because it's kind of like what Zillow is, right? It's like a group of Tinder dates, just swiping one way, swiping another way. They don't want to commit on the first call, right? So sometimes you just have to bring them out and then work on building the relationship, right? But that's your choice. So let's role play. You could be the person. Do you want to be the agent or do you want to be the client?
I'll be the client. I'll be the lead.
I knew that was coming. Okay, go ahead.
So, so I guess you called me back, and then then I realized you don't represent. I mean, you're not the listing agent, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I mean, how high is the ceiling, by the way, of this property? Do you know?
You know, I will find out those additional details for you. And while we're out looking, are there any other homes that you wanted to see in the area?
I mean, this is the one that I was interested in, and again, I don't have to leave. I don't have to move. I'm renovating my bathrooms right now, so unless the place is, really something that we love, we don't have to move. But listen, I mean, I've met a mega agent, from Compass, and who went on to Long Island, and I mean, I don't understand, like, because if I have a buyer's agent, then, I think it's better that I go on my own, because the seller's agent would actually be more happy to see me alone without a buyer's agent.
Got it. So what I hear you saying is that you feel it's more beneficial for you to continue to search around on your own on the internet and look for the listing agents.
Yeah, I think I would get a better discount, a better price.
Got it. Has anyone taken the time to share with you, Renee, how New York agency disclosure works?
I mean, yes, I understand, it's usually what, 6%. So, without the agent, I'm gonna get a better discount. And they generally, they're happy to just see me without an agent with me that come along.
Oh no, I actually meant an agency disclosure, right? Like generally speaking, a seller hires an agent to represent their fiduciary as them as a fiduciary in their best interest. So there is actually a few different types. And look, regardless of what you decide to do, I just want to explain this to you because I believe that every buyer or seller has a right to understand the different types of representation, and then you go do what's best for you.
Sure.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, okay.
So if you were selling your apartment and you hired an agent, who do you think that agent would represent?
The seller.
Yeah, and as a seller, would you give up your right to representation and you being represented as a fiduciary for a buyer, for your agent to work with both the buyer and the seller?
I guess not.
Okay. And look, that's just something to consider, right? I want to just send you over the form, and New York State clearly outlines the different types of representation. And when you're going and you're representing yourself, which people do successfully, right? There is a change in the nature of the relationship in the way that an agent can represent you, the information legally they can convey with you, as well as the way they represent the seller and the information they could legally convey with them. So look, I will email you the form. I have your information. If you feel it's best to just go to the listing agent, I'd be happy to send you the information for this listing. And if something changes, just keep me in mind in the future, and I'll follow up with a call with you tomorrow. Fair?
Sure. And but wouldn't, the seller pay less fee, and therefore, I would get a better price on, on the property?
Well, that's another interesting question, right? Because if you have to, generally speaking, like for my company, Compass, or any of the other larger brokerages, if there is a discount to the commission, it's something that has to be signed off by the company and the managers, right? So it's at each company, it's their own company policy. So yeah, logically 100% that would make sense, but an agent is now still doing both sides of the work. So a lot of agents, in my experience, still will require the full fee, right? There are a small percentage of sellers that would like to give up their right to have a fiduciary, for themselves to be the fiduciary in the transaction for a discount. But if you were selling an apartment for $1.5 million for $15,000, would you give up your right to be fully represented, advised, and consulted, and in essence, many ways why you hired a broker in the first place?
I might.
Yeah, exactly. And there might be other people like that too. So look, let me just send you the information, take some time and think about it, and let me know if you'd still like to see this apartment, and I'll follow up with you from there.
Okay. Sounds good.
You see what we did there?
Yeah, those are
Right? Like for my, what's that?
much better questions that, than, at the time that I could, get back at.
Well, look, in the end, again, it's bringing them through their own logic, right? Like, why would a seller, because if you look at New York State, and it's probably, look at the agency disclosure forms in your state. If you look at dual agency, pretty much all it says is, I want to offer 1-1 with 20% down. Then I'd look at Ryan and say, hey, Ryan, they're going to offer 1-1 with 20% down. And Ryan turns around to me, what do you think? Should we negotiate? Sorry, I'm a dual agent. Legally, I can't say anything. Do you want to take it? Do you want to decline? That is exactly how dual agency is, right? And for everyone on here, be careful when you blur these lines and make sure you operate within it. There are a lot of states like Florida and California that are a lot more litigious than others, right? So if the people understand that and they're like, still like, oh, I'm going to go find somebody, I'm going to go find somebody who will find this discount, great. They're not looking for an agent. Again, remember, the logic is based on their dreams and emotions. See, Jody says they don't do dual agency in the DMV, right? So like dual agency, and depending on the state, can be very risky litigiously. So it's something just to be mindful of. Sound good, Renee?
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. Marlena, you're up next. Are you feeling better? You got to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I know how to press.
Oh, wait, you just cut out. You can come back.
Here I am. I'm
Okay.
sorry, it's my computer. I know how to press a button. Okay, so my situation is that the seller, and I'm actually going to call her right after this call, wants to sell her apartment, but she's looking for a price that's not achievable at the moment. And I've given her the comps, and we've talked, and she said, well, I have a $45,000 bathroom renovation. So, and I'd like to play the seller.
Okay, go ahead. And hold on, tell me a little more about the comps and
Okay.
how does her bathroom reservation play into the reality of what the market is?
You know what? It really doesn't. There was an apartment, a few that sold. Okay, it sold about 3-4 months ago when we were deep into the COVID standstill, and it sold for $685. She wants to achieve close to $8. It was suggested to me that I take it on at about $750, which I think is doable. She's a few floors higher. That apartment was beautiful too, and So that's the latest comp. Pre-COVID, they did get 800, et cetera, but that's not happening now.
Okay, go ahead. That's the information I need.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can start.
So hi, do you think that I can get my price? We've talked a few months ago, and I'm now living in Florida, and the apartment is not used. But so I'm wondering if you know anybody through your contacts, because I know you've been a broker for a long time and you're very active in the building. Do you think you have anybody for me at the price I'd like to achieve?
Here, well, one, thank you for reaching out and sharing that compliment. What I want to go through is a couple things with you, and then we'll see if we can get to a mutual location, a mutual destination that makes sense for everybody. Would that be okay?
Yes, sure.
So we'll start pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, the prices are in alignment with your expectations of 800,000. Since COVID, the only sale in the building has been at 685. So as we partner together, and as you said, I have a lot of contacts, I have been in the business, I have an excellent marketing plan. What we need to help a buyer understand is what specifically, besides the 2 floors higher, makes your home worth $115,000 more than the last property that sold in the building.
Well, I put a lot of money into my bathroom. Did you see it? Do you remember what it looked like? It's really gorgeous. And I put about $45,000 into that. And my kitchen's renovated. And I really loved living here.
So what I hear you saying is you have done some nice renovations. The one at 685 did have an updated kitchen as well. When did you do your bathroom? What year?
Oh, about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So assuming that you're getting the full value on your renovation from 4 years ago, that still leaves us about $75,000 in a gap that we have to close.
I see. So what do you suggest? Because I really don't want to sell it too low. I can wait. Maybe do you think I should rent it? I don't know, but I want a really good person, like who would keep the place really nice if I decided to rent.
Well, look, ultimately is what I hear you saying is you're not in a place that you have to sell the apartment. You're open to renting versus selling. Is that correct?
Well, I'm kind of undecided, so I'm just trying to talk it through and figure it all out, because I really did want. By the way, she only paid a very little amount, about.
That doesn't matter. Keep going.
Yeah, I just was hoping to get close to 800, and I thought maybe you could achieve that.
Look, there's a lot of things that great marketing and contacts will do. There's 2 sales we have to make, once to the buyer, once to the bank, right? Even if I was able through great marketing to get you still the full $45,000 that you put in a 4-year-old renovation, right? There's still $75,000 that we have to make up, collectively to a buyer, right? It's the buyer will have an agent generally, or will be represented, and they will be looking at this information. So my job is to help us get to a place where we could do something that you feel good about. I can't control the market. Between the 2 of us, you can correct the price, the condition, and the accessibility. Right, Marlena?
Right, true. You're right about that.
I can control the marketing, the visual story your home tells, locating qualified prospects, and advertising. None of us can control the location, the economy, interest rates, and ultimately the choices your neighbors will accept for the price of their home.
Well, that makes sense. Thank you. I think I'm getting clarity on that. Yeah. Then maybe I shouldn't wait for things to change. When do you think that the market will move up? Because I'm hearing that things are going to get better eventually.
Bless you. Well, based on where we were last year over year, the contracts are going up. The market is at a better pace in Manhattan. But look, ultimately, if I had that crystal ball, I would share the information with both of us, and we could both each live on our own private island. So the data shows that the market is getting better. But again, we go back to the same thing. The last home in this building sold for $685. It is going to take some time before it goes up 115,000, which is almost like another 20%.
Got it. Okay, thank you. I think I'm ready to
And
sign.
the
What price
good,
do
and
you
the
think I could achieve, like the best price?
what was your number? 749?
750, yeah.
Yeah, so I would suggest starting at 750, right? In the case that we did, that's still giving you the $45,000 for your bathroom renovation, and let's see what the market says, right? Between what you can control and I can control, we'll position your home for maximum exposure and get the most qualified buyers, and let's get you to your goal. The only other question I have is what's your plan B if you don't get the specific number to the dollar that you want?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not coming back to New York. So I think that I do want to sell it. And it's just a matter of how long I should hold on to it for a bigger number. I could last a couple of months, a year without hurting. I don't have a mortgage on it, but I would like to recoup my money. I would like to see a good profit on it.
Great. So let's be mindful of our $1,000+ a month in carrying costs. Let's move forward at the 750 price if that's acceptable to you. And let's see what the market says as we put it out there.
I think we'll do it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Was that helpful?
Very helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, what I want everyone to take away from today is I was never combative with anyone's point of view. Never. Right? As David's on here, or as I call him Yoda, David has taught me very well, what's true for you is true for you, right? So, I just want to unmute David for a second before we all sign off. And David, just share with everyone, just like one of your golden nuggets, right? Like if something's true for somebody, what are they really going to get out of trying to persuade them out of that thought?
Yeah, it may be true for you that today is a cold day or a warm day. If you believe it's a warm day and somebody else is telling you it's cold, there's no way that they're going to convince you if it's cold if you think it's a warm day. But what they're going to experience in that moment is disconnect. They're going to experience some version of conflict or difference. And the last thing you want to do with any client or near client or prospective client is to have them experience something with you that's non-connection or disconnection.
And there it is, guys. So listen, tomorrow, we're going to send out another email. One of the things that's a good nugget there. So one of the things that we started doing is we're always telling you to network with other Compass agents, right? In the 3-part, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we've made Agent Talk available where you can invite a friend. So a great way to build relationships with your peers, your colleagues in other markets and people you want to get to know is invite them of something of value. Our panel, Julie invited her team leaders and some other people, and I've heard that from some other of our group members as well. But there's share with a friend button in the email. If you want the email, just email us, we'll send it back. But feel free to start inviting your friends. Tomorrow we have a great panel on throwing parties for profit that Rachel will be hosting. And Rachel just has a wealth of event producing experience. And with 4 of our agents, you guys are all in for a treat. So if you want to invite somebody, let us know. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And start collecting all of your objections from this week to next week. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.